Yo, what's going on, fight fans? EJ Boxing Live here. UFC 14. Jon Jones upset Daniel Cormier to capture the light heavyweight champion for the second time and to beat Daniel Cormier for the second time and be the first man to stop Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier, he was heartbroken after the fight. He even still wanted to fight on. I don't think he knew he was unconscious. It was a spectacular event. Let me hear from Luke Menden now. Well, I don't know where it's from. Let me hear what he has to say.
Good. Okay. If you have any questions, of course, put them on Twitter at LThomasNews. And at the end of this, I will get to it, and we'll check this out from there, because there might be an angle to this that I haven't thought of. So let me know. All right. Let's see. In the co-main event, that was terrible. It was plainly really bad.
Hey,
so
no one's here about
what he was able to do against Maya is absolutely worthy of praise, and I will give him that.
Okay. He's gonna talk about the co-main event and stuff like that. Let me go back a bit, and let's get to it.
Stop and finish.
Here we go. That's what
below Beta Academy. If you ever watched the
that's what we
Beta
want to hear.
Academy is a place where I train, and you can go there as well.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to hear straight out.
Okay. Wait. Wow.
Here we go. Let's
Talk
get
about
into
what
it.
we just saw. Jon Jones is your new UFC light heavyweight champion again. He becomes the first man to stop and finish Daniel Cormier. He does so in the third round. Early on, I have to say, my general take on the fight, so we'll get into some of the specifics here in just a minute, but my general take on the fight was I thought DC was doing well. Now, whether or not you wanted to award him the first round, I definitely gave him the second. But I think it's pretty clear, to be fair to DC, he made a ton of adjustments. When he got taken down, he rolled through, so he didn't stay on bottom. He never got bellied out or put flat on his back. In fact, he was able to threaten at times with inside trips, which he's really good at from the clinch. He was diligent about underhooks. He was good about not getting controlled on the wrist. Shout outs to BJJ Scout, who did an entire video on their clinch tactics and what went wrong for DC in the first fight, what needed to go right in the second one. And he made some of the same adjustments that BJJ Scout had described, and many others as well. I thought he had really good head movement. I thought Jon was doing really good work to the body, but maybe not so great work to the head. I thought he was missing a lot in the head. He wasn't able to use wrist control and then pop the elbow over the top, which was a big component, I think, in the first fight. There was just a lot of things that DC was able to do. It looked kind of the same, where Jon's backing up that DC is pursuing. So it had some of the similar kinds of complexions, but it was much more competitive this time, much more competitive. And DC, you got to give him credit early anyway. He was doing everything he needed to, but if he was going to win that way, he was going to be able to win by winning rounds. He was never really putting Jon in peril, and he landed some heavy rights over the top, but he never really rocked Jon. It looked like if he was going to win, it was just going to be, well, did I do enough in that frame? He was never really pushing him to the precipice of defeat exactly at any point in time. And that didn't give me cause for concern necessarily, but it was like, all right, you can do this, but you have to do this after the first 10 minutes for 15 more minutes. And then it just became a bridge too far. Here's the truth, man. If you're Daniel Cormier, it's a tough truth, and it's a hard to swallow truth, but it's a real truth. For all the great work that Daniel Cormier did, for all the adjustments he made, he looked so prepared, he looked so ready, he was good on the scales and the weight cut, everything. Everything was where it needed to be. That's why this will leave no doubt. Jon just has too many weapons. He just has too many weapons. I don't know how else to say it. For all of the great metaphorical distance that Cormier was able to cover in terms of what went wrong in the first fight, what needed to go right in the second, and how you get from A to B, he made up a huge amount of ground. It just didn't matter. It just didn't matter in the end. Jon Jones, if not the best fighter ever, certainly going to be in contention for it. He just had so many things, so many pockets, so many reservoirs he's able to go to. And this is not really the first time you've seen stuff like that. You've seen him have diverse offense before. But just think about the Gustafsson fight. He got pushed to the brink, and what did he do? came around with that spinning elbow and just finds the right time to do it, and just is able to, in that case, you rocked Gustafsson there as well. Gustafsson, of course, hung on, but you get the idea. He just has these moments where he can find ways to try different techniques or to try different strategies or just try something, because this game is just so diverse. Man, a vicious head kick from Jon Jones. And then the head kick was great because it was timed. Cormier was leaning into it, and he caught him. And that was bad. Cormier, tough as they come, tried to hang on. The real scary thing, and we've always known this about Jon, but of course you didn't get to see it in their first fight because it was a lot of clinch fighting and it went 5 rounds, but predominantly on the feet. He rocked him with the shot and then follows up on top. And Jon Jones has absolutely nightmarish ground and pound. My Lord. And you have to say, Big John McCarthy, there's a video out there. Shouts to everyone on Reddit. I saw it this morning. It was from before UFC 200. And before UFC 200, there was a video where Jon Jones was saying he was like any other ref besides Big John. Now, I don't know what his current feelings are. No one really asked it, but Big John ref this one. Big John gave Daniel Cormier every conceivable opportunity to recover. Gave him every conceivable opportunity to get out of a bad spot. Give him every conceivable opportunity to find a way to make it work. And the ground and pound of Jon Jones is so incredibly vicious. I mean, he gets so high on them, and he can just drive them with such ferocity, man. It was hard to watch. And then you have the post-fight scenario where Jon, clearly emotional from, I'm sure, whatever euphoria he's feeling from the win, and he seemed relieved that this chapter was now behind him. I thought saying fairly gracious things, very gracious things about Daniel Cormier. Didn't look like Daniel Cormier was in the headspace to receive them. He seemed, to put it quite mildly, distraught. And then, the craziest part about it all, you guys keep saying there's no momentum behind this. I'm not sure I believe that, man. If they can make Mayweather McGregor out of the media narrative, they can make the same for Brock Lesnar or Jon Jones. Jon grabs the mic and says, Brock Lesnar, if you want to feel like what it's like to get your ass kicked by a guy with 40 pounds less, come here in the octagon. And then he literally takes the mic and drops it on the ground, setting up what appears to be a potential fight with him as well, which I think would be good for the UFC. Certainly good for Jon Jones' career. I would favor him heavily to win that contest. I won't say a perfect night for Jon in terms of how everything will win. I don't think that's quite right. But honestly, you have to be very thrilled with the win, the nature of the win, the ending of this chapter, the emphatic bookend that you're able to put there and close the show with. That has to be quite gratifying. Setting up what's next, and getting your title back in the process. This was a no doubt about it, a wildly successful night for Jon Jones. So I don't know what's next for him. If it's the Gustafsson fight, if they can find a way to get the Brock Lesnar fight done, hard to say. But he did good work in setting himself up for it, and I guess we'll have to see there. As what's next for DC, your guess is as good as mine, man. I don't really know. I have heard he might go to heavyweight. But after the nature of the loss tonight, I don't know. So here's what I had heard. I heard that if he wins, obviously, there was going to be a rubber match. But if he lost, he was contemplating going to heavyweight. That still might be in effect. But after getting finished the way he did, I don't really know what he'll want to do. That was a bad loss, I'm not saying other guys in heavyweight would pose necessarily the same kind of threat. But at 37, 38, certainly not getting any younger, probably outside of his prime at this point, if not definitively outside of his prime. And now that he got head kicked and then smashed, finished with strikes, that's a terrible way to go. And you might say, well, look, he probably doesn't want to end on that note. Okay, fair enough. I can understand that argument as well. But when you take that kind of damage at the end of your career, you might be saying to yourself, if I took it this time, have I invited the possibility for more damage as time goes on as well? And future stoppages like this from guys who aren't nearly as talented. That's a possibility too. Man, I'm like you guys. I'm sitting here just trying to process everything we just saw. That was incredible. I also think it's sort of noteworthy about their demeanor as they walk to the cage. Jon coming out to Jadakiss as the champ is here. Him and his crew, it looked like they were setting up for a wedding. You know, all of his cornermen like groomsmen were, you know, half smiling, half serious, but not dour. And then he's, you know, taking in this big moment. He gets in there, and then DC comes out, and he was all lunch pail business. Totally different demeanors. And the fight played out in the way that their demeanor spoke too early. Shit, man, Jon just has too many aces on the river card, man. He just has too many answers for too many scenarios, for too many opponents. And then you add in the fact that, you know, obviously he's younger, that 12-inch reach advantage. He just really has so many advantages that I don't know what you guys felt about tonight. You might say, on the one hand, sure, he finished DC. Would he be able to do that against Gustafsson? You know, showing some of the weaknesses that he showed early. There's a debate you can have about that. I would like to see that contest and sort of really see it resolved one way or the other. But at the same time, you know, being the first guy to finish Daniel Cormier, and after maybe losing both rounds, maybe. Fuck, man, that is a Jesus. Who's going to beat that guy? I don't know. Who's going to beat that guy in this state of his game today? You know, bananas, man, bananas what that guy's capable of doing. So that really is just I won't say shocking ending, but there is something so, what's the word? Definitive about it, that there is a little bit of, you know, a surprise element to it. You don't see Daniel Cormier get beat on like that. And he did this time, as you can see up here in the lounge. So,
all right, so let's talk about what he's talking about. So the referee, Big John McCarthy, basically, Big John McCarthy in Jon Jones' fight was complaining that a lot of fighters were complaining about Jon Jones farming people and using his thumb and his fingers in the eye. So on one of Jon Jones' defenses, Big John McCarthy was there, and he was complaining about the fingers going in the eye. Well, Jon Jones did do it, not intentionally, but he did, and he was really giving Jon a hard time. So Jon obviously said, "Well, you know what? I don't really want John McCarthy refereeing him again." Obviously, he had a layoff, 2-year layoff or year layoff. Jon Jones had a warm-up fight, and then obviously postponement of UFC, one of the UFCs before. He wasn't really bothered at this point, you know. He was in a good space, his head's in a good space, and he didn't really care. The fight didn't really play out that way. There was no fingers in the eye, and Jon Jones dealt with business, man, and Cormier has to suffer with it. See, the thing about them sort of things, when you say certain things about this, that, the other, and to be fair to Cormier wasn't like that in the first place. Cormier is a role model, but Jon Jones has a way of getting into your head, and maybe it's the competitiveness. You know, it's the same thing with Rashad Evans. I pick Rashad Evans on any other day to fight anyone else. I usually do, yeah. But against Jon Jones, no. Not against Jon Jones. And Daniel Cormier has to realize that as well. They can, all them other guys can be good, but when you come against Jon Jones, it's a different level. As like Luke Thomas just said, he has levels. He could be cool with you 1 minute, and he's saying you're offside. Obviously, with the coach Greg Jackson, with the game plan, they said they were working on that kid. They knew that eventually they were kicking him to the leg, and they were using their hands, and they were making him think that that's all they were going to use the whole fight. So Cormier got comfortable with that's what he thought he was going to do. So when that kick came, and that's when you get knocked out, the punches or the kicks you can't see. That's why again, because and you see when he was kicking, when Jon Jones lifted his leg up, yeah, Cormier was leaning to that side as well, so it doubled the impact of the kick, and it caused them off balance. Jon Jones threw a left hook, grazed Daniel Cormier, and then he kicked him, and Cormier lost his balance, and that was it. Cormier's never been in them positions where he has to fight out of being really, well, maybe he has, of being really hurt and have to recover. When Jon Jones gets you hurt, it's like a cobra or a boa constrictor. It will crush you. That's what he did. He crushed him. And going back to the referee again, Big John McCarthy, he let the beating soar. He let Cormier take extra punches that he probably didn't need to take. Yeah, because he's a champion. Extra punch he didn't need to take. Really, yeah. So it was something to behold. That was that was something to behold. That beating was something. And you know what? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because Cormier, I like Cormier. And like I said, I like Cormier. I like Rashad Evans, any other person. But when it comes to Jon Jones, I don't pick no one against Jon Jones. No one against Jon Jones. Jon Jones is that. This Jon Jones against Brock Lesnar. Against Brock Lesnar? Fuck me, bruv. Brock Lesnar. If Brock Lesnar grabs Jon Jones, right, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Jon Jones has got good strikes, though. He can elbow Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar doesn't like to get hit or punched. I see him wince away, right? But if Brock Lesnar can grab Jon Jones, that is fucked, bro. He's fucked. Cormier is a world-class wrestler, world-class athlete. You know, competing Olympians, competing in the Olympics. If he was competing at heavyweight, I think he would have probably won the heavyweight belt. I'm not gonna lie. At heavyweight, Jon Jones facing Daniel Cormier at heavyweight is a different prospect again. He's much more heavier. Cormier, the only reason Cormier went down to light heavyweight because his friend Cain Velasquez was in the division, which is stupid. You know, your teammates find another camp and focus. But he did capture the light heavyweight belt, but he didn't beat the champion, so he didn't really consider himself as the champion. So it's hot, a bit of sour pill for Daniel Cormier. But this is the thing, man. That's what he did try to go for the best. As Reef said, Dan got smashed. Yeah, he did get smashed, Reef. He got smashed up, bro. He got smashed up, and I enjoyed it. I mean, the fight was good. Cormier was actually picking up rounds, actually. Cormier actually winning some rounds. I didn't see the undercard fights, and I wasn't really interested because I was on the undercard of the boxing, right? Obviously, and I was just thinking about just in general. You have, we're in a different times, right? Or maybe we are, maybe we're not. Where WWE, UFC, and boxing can all fight each other. So you got Brock Lesnar crossing over to the UFC. You got James Toney crossing into the UFC. You got UFC crossing into boxing into WWE. That was Ken Shamrock. You have boxers. You have boxers. You have UFC guys going into boxing, right? Kimbo Slice going into boxing, and backwards and forwards. I think they could interchange. I think. In terms of pedigree, in my opinion, I think the boxing has probably one of the best pedigree because the amateur system in boxing is amateur boxing. In WWE, there's no amateur WWE wrestling. They don't have amateur. They get ready, then they're also on a show, and mainly it's a show, it's an entertainment show, and they convince people, and it's all showmanship, talking and stuff like that. It's a show. They can fight though. They can beat the average guy, but not against trained athletes like from the UFC. So let's go to the UFC. UFC athletes, they're good, but they're good at loads of different sports, but not directly great at any one thing. Boxers are just great at one thing. They're great at putting hands on you, no doubt. Any boxer put hands on you, and that's what. And this is going to culminate into Conor McGregor getting whooped down by Mayweather. Where people think of Mayweather, his hands are brick, all that stuff they're saying about him. They've always been saying. Mayweather says, yeah, say that, keep saying that stuff. But when the people get in between the ropes, none of them complain. None of them. I don't hear none of them say Mayweather's hands are brickle. He can't punch. Pacquiao never said that, and fucking none of them said that. So they go and find out. But it's only the people outside the ring who've never been in the ring will talk that shit. And it's the same probably with Brock. Brock Lesnar's like a big, massive dude, very intimidating. So if he goes over and gets beat up by Jon Jones, it ruins his mystique. Yeah, it ruins his mystique, and he's really built that up. Brock Lesnar's the most scariest dude, but I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I'm very intrigued by Jon Jones versus Brock Lesnar. I am. I think whoever can administer their game plan first will win the fight. And the longer it goes, you might favor Jon Jones, but bro, Brock Lesnar just steams over and put Jon Jones on his back. He's fucked. He's fucked. He ain't getting that shit. I might even title it. Like put Brock Lesnar in the title and stuff like that. I'm sorry this is so late. It really is late. What else are we gonna do? We're gonna hear from some other people. Dana White had his chance to talk. Let's I already hear from thing. Dana White was talking over there on the thing, so talking about it. All right, let me hear what Dana White has to say real quick. Let me see what Dana White says about the stoppage.
And the gate was for $2.5 million. The bonus is fight of the night. For the Ortega fight was fight of the night. If you look at the OSP fight, he didn't look like a world beater in that fight. He looked like he had these other things were going to be there tonight, and they weren't. Great fight.
Afterwards, I think we were kind of surprised to hear leading up to this fight that you hadn't talked to Jon Jones very much. I mean, with all the things that have happened. So I wonder afterwards, have you had a chance to speak with him, and has he kind of earned your confidence again, I guess?
It's normal, you know. I was upset about 200 and many other things, and because I was upset, he was upset, or whatever the deal is. It happens, and there was no need for either of us to talk anyway. Doesn't matter here. I've said it many times. Tito Ortiz fought here for a long time, and we weren't best friends, so it's all good.
And afterwards, he had the surprise call out of Brock Lesnar in there with the mic drop moment. I guess, what did you think as that was unfolding, and is this something you would entertain?
I guess Lesnar just talked to the AP and said, "Be careful what you wish for, young man." So listen, Lesnar would take 6 months for him to even go through USADA to fight, so it's fun to talk about, but the reality of it happening anytime soon, it's not a reality.
I guess the opposite side of that scenario was Woodley's win tonight. Certainly didn't necessarily entertain the crowd quite as much. What did you think watching that fight?
About watching what fight?
The Woodley fight, and beating Mike.
Over 1 million buys. So it's a big night. It was a great card. What about pay-per-views?
Just you get Jones back as a pay-per-view draw for the company. What's it mean to the company to have him back?
Tonight was a big night. Tonight is trending over 1 million buys. So
Really? It's really
big
good.
night. It was a great card. It's one of the best cards we've ever done, on paper and in person. So yeah, it's good to have him back. Yeah, it's good.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what your decision was on Tyron's victory? I mean, I guess he can say a win is a win, and he was up here talking about all the takedown defenses he had. He said,
It is true. We just had a little talk in the back. Oh, GSP just texted me. He said, I heard you were talking about my performance. I said, you broke a record tonight. I mean, that speaks for itself. He said, well, this guy had however many, 17 takedown attempts or something like that. I said, yeah, not one of them were close. You fought them all out. The guy had one eye in the first round, and you're faster, you're stronger, your hands are better, explosive. I believe Woodley could have finished that in the first round. If not, he definitely could have finished in the second round. If you had a remote control for that guy, he's a freak of nature. He'd be an incredible fighter. And it's easy. Listen, it's easy to say a win is a win. When you get booed out of an arena, it means people don't want to watch you fight. And that's how you make a living. It's not good if people don't want to watch you fight.
Dana, can you please explain to us exactly what happened after the main event when Daniel Cormier appeared to be really frustrated and you had to say something to him?
Yeah, no, he was telling me that the fight was stopped prematurely, and he was freaking out on the referee. And the reality is that Cormier was out of it and didn't really know what had happened. He didn't know he got knocked out till he saw it on the replay. And realistically, if you look at that fight, he was saying it was stopped prematurely. Could have been stopped 4 or 5 punches sooner than it was. So I was just trying to get him to calm down and relax. And then he kept saying, "Why is Dana yelling at me?" And then when he saw it on the replay, that was when he found out that he had got knocked out.
And how difficult?
Yeah, that's it, boy. Well, that's it. Let me hear what Jon Jones has to say. Well, Cormier didn't even know he got knocked out. That's why he was making up so much noise, boy. It's crazy.
How are you guys?
Good. John, clearly
John?
a long journey for you to get back to this moment. We could see the emotion immediately after in the cage, but you've had a little chance to let it soak in. I'm sure spend some time with your family. What are the emotions like right now?
Man, it's surreal. It's surreal to be back here in front of you all.
New champion. And
just more grateful than ever. At one point in my career, just took it all for granted and just, just dreaded doing some things like this. And now after not having it and realizing how easily it could be all done, not having this, I'm more grateful for every ounce of this process.
Incredibly quick start to the fight tonight. Were you anticipating it to be, that much of a barn burner right off the bat?
Yeah, I think, I heard Daniel say things like he wanted to show me right away that the 2 years will affect me and that I'm not meant to be here and things like that. So we knew that we knew there wasn't going to be a filling out process. We knew there wasn't going to be time for ring rest. We knew we were going to have to get straight to business, and that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what
You said you were going to get the finish. I mean, did you envision that type of knockout? A high kick, finishing it the way you did. Did you see that as a possibility?
Yeah, we expected to finish Daniel Cormier. I said it in several interviews before the fight. There was a day in practice where we found 5 other guys who gives me the hardest time. And my coaches made me match up against all of them. They had 1 round each, 5 rounds. And I finished 3 out of the 5, which is something I've never been able to do before. I had 2 TKOs and a submission. And my coaches told me after that practice, they said, Jon, you are stepping into your prime, my friend. And they said it's time for you to expect to finish fights, expect more out of yourself, both in your personal life and at work. And that's what I've been doing. I've been expecting more out of myself, hold myself to a higher standard. And I feel like it showed tonight.
Very classy address towards Daniel afterwards. I wonder, was that spontaneous, or was it something that's been weighing heavy on you that you wanted to get out there? I mean, obviously, pre-fight build-up isn't exactly the time to do that, but right. Was that something that just came to you all of a sudden, or had you wanted to get that out there?
Well, I've always felt that way about Daniel, but it was spontaneous. I've always felt like he's a pretty classy guy, guy to be respected, stand-up champion, model champion, but unfortunately, I came into this game at a young age with big ideas, and despite how good of a person he is, there's no mercy in combat, and I have to do what I have to do. All right, it's either me or him. So, what happened. But he should be respected, and I don't think he should ever be questioned whether he was a true champion or not. In my absence, he fought 2 of the toughest guys in the division. He won those fights, and he carries himself like a champion. So I think that should be recognized.
Last thing for me, Jon, the call out of Brock Lesnar, I think, was a little bit unexpected. Talk about the genesis of that, where that was coming from, and why you're motivated to do that.
To be honest with you, I have no clue where this Brock Lesnar situation came from, how it started. But it got serious really quick, and I started talking to my management team, first round management, and my team at Jackson's MMA, and I said, well, what do you guys think if this was to happen? And obviously my manager's like, well, it's going to be a big payday, right? That's his job, right? Make me money. But my team at Jackson's MMA, Jackson Wink, they said, Jon, you can win that fight. You're going to have to dig deep. You're going to have to take your self-belief to a higher level. You're going to have to earn this fight. Obviously, you have to change a lot, fighting at 225 or 230. But say you can do this. And so we made up in our mind that we were serious about it. And I think it'd be great for the MMA world, right? It would definitely bring more general public to the sport of mixed martial arts, and that's what we need. We need to expand our sport, and so why not be the guy to play a part in that?
Jon, back here, what does it say about you? And you were pretty confident going in that you would perform like that tonight, but Dana was even blown away. Everybody here, to see you do that after the amount of time you've been off, all the things that you've been through. I mean, you were overwhelmed at the end, but what does it say about your overall greatness in your career that you can come back in and do what I don't think anybody could come back in and do tonight?
Thanks. Yeah, man. We made a shirt that said "Unbroken," and I've made that my kind of life motto or slogan, whatever. It's just to be unbroken and to believe in believe in your dreams, despite how you get sidetracked in life. Just to remember why we started this and remember how great we all can be. And yeah, man, it just shows that, man, that can't be broken, can't bend me, can't break me. And right. And I feel that way right now. I feel stronger than ever. And I hope that this story motivates somebody else to get on their feet and kick some ass in life.
That being said, as good as you were tonight, how much better can you be now that you, quote unquote, have your life together and outside of the cage is seeming to be aligned with inside of the cage and you hitting your prime all at the same time? How much better can you be even than you are now?
As far as saying I have my life together, life is a day by day thing. You gotta just try to make good decisions in one situation, one day at a time. So my life is still a work in progress, but I feel like it could be much better tonight. Defensively, I felt like that I wasn't the sharpest. I got caught with some really, really big punches, some big hooks. Thank God for blessing me with a good chin. Yeah, I feel like the best is yet to come. At age 30, I feel like I'm in my physical and mental prime, and just believing that will allow me to train at a higher level and just expect more out of myself. So I feel like my best years are still ahead of me. I think it's very scary to a lot of these light heavyweights that I'm still the youngest guy in the division, and will be here for a long time.
Hey, John, right here.
I think Kevin started first.
I was quick.
Respect your elders.
Always.
Congratulations, John.
Thanks.
Can you compare this, put this in context with your win over Shogun Hulu? When you set the record, you become the youngest champion, and that was such a dominant performance, and it's kind of like now, in a way, you come full circle. How do those two compare to you?
They're definitely very similar. In a way, it feels like this fight feels like my first championship ever, almost, because I feel like I have a new beginning. I went through such a dark period, and so depression and all these things, and now the light is here at the end of the tunnel, and I feel like I'm leaving my past behind me, and I'm just I'm erasing everything that I've done before. I feel like this is the start to a new career, a new championship, and I feel like I want to be a better champion than I was in the past. So I feel like a new champion. This is my time to start all over and to be a better champion and be the champion that the fans deserve. So that's how it compares.
How much?
I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me.
Was your mom in your mind tonight? This is your first fight since you lost your mom. And was that?
My mom has been in my mind for sure. Yeah.
Oh, his mom passed.
Whether she got to watch the fight tonight.
Oh, she
front row. She had the best seat in the house, and yeah, I know she'd be extremely proud right now. So yeah, I'm happy.
And I just want to follow up on one other thing. Do you plan to, if Brock does take the fight, and he said, "Be careful what you wish for, young man." So I told Greg Beecham that. But if he does take the fight, would you think of campaigning as a heavyweight? And if he doesn't come back because of his suspension and everything else he has, a fight with you and Stipe would certainly, he's not that massive heavyweight that a Brock is. Would that be something people have talked to you about, fighting heavyweight a long time?
Yeah.
Would you consider campaigning there?
I feel like if I was to take a fight at heavyweight, it would be against a person who I felt, me and my coaches had felt like it was just a perfect matchup for me. Right now, Stipe is looking extremely impressive. And I believe when you get an extremely talented big guy versus an extremely talented little guy, a lot of the cards are in his favor. At the same time, I fear no man, but I strike for a reason when I strike. And I feel like Stipe is relatively unknown to the general public. So it wouldn't even be a real super fight, in my opinion. I think the MMA fans would be really excited about it, but the general public wouldn't care about that fight.
Yeah, that's right.
Most people don't really know who he is, with all due respect to him. So if I'm going to sacrifice being the smaller guy, I think stylistically, Brock would be a fight that makes way more sense.
Yeah.
And the payday would be tremendous. And what it would do for our sport would be tremendous. It would have much greater impact.
Yeah.
So for many reasons, a Brock Lesnar fight just makes more sense to me.
Absolutely,
From a timing standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You nailed it there. Let me see one more. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying, man. That's right. Stylistically, everything, money, everything. Brock Lesnar versus, let me hear what this guy says.
True Geordie back again with the MMA hangover, and I know it's been a while, sorry about that, but MMA, it's been a bit stale. None other than Brock fucking Lesnar after the fight. So yeah, we've got loads to talk about. Yeah, starting with the fight, to be honest with you, I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't know who the fuck was going to win this fight. Case of who fights close at the day 100%.
Yeah, well, this is Geordie guy. Let's get to it, man. Let's find someone who's going to talk about UFC 214. UFC 214, boy. And let's get to it. If I hear someone. UFC 214, man. What a freaking night, man. Okay, let me see what I can find there. Brock Lesnar, man. There. Put a freaking beating down on Daniel Cormier. A wicked beatdown, boy. Cormier. You know, that's all people care about. The main Jon Jones, for him to get into that star status of that money, he's trying to get the MMA audience. So, but I think Brock Lesnar's got a good chance of beating Jon Jones. You know, I think he has. You know, but Jon Jones very complete. But Brock, I mean, maybe Brock stylistically he just looks that big. So I don't know, but it definitely intrigue that people would want to see that fight. 100%. Let me see what's going on. Let me see what's going on. I'm going to turn that down because I can hear myself speaking, actually. What a freaking night. Most people are talking about the Adrian Broner and Mikey Garcia matchup, which was pretty good. But when I watched it, man, it was just a one-sided whoop ass. That was Broner. I didn't see Broner win no rounds, man. I think they got the scorecards right. I didn't have him win nothing. Absolutely nothing. No rounds, nothing. Yeah. It's just mainly the same thing on UFC, man. Mainly the same thing. The whoop ass was complete. Johnny Boney Jones just bringing stuff down Cormier. He just treated Cormier like Cormier wasn't even in the same ballpark, the same stratosphere. That's how he treated Cormier. Like Cormier wasn't even the same level. So that's why we're looking towards the Brock Lesnar one. And Brock Lesnar, you see, send a tweet out. Be careful what you ask for, young man. So that's that really. Nothing more in it. Nothing more really to say. You heard from Dana White. You heard from Jon Jones. Cormier's all messed up. He couldn't even speak from Cormier. Cormier couldn't even speak, man. Doomed up, boy. So hey, listen. Let me see if you guys say anything in the chat. Let me see what you guys say anything. 1 second. It's a little dim. Yeah, I don't think you guys are even in the chat, actually. You guys even around? No. I haven't got it up, actually. My bad. I must have moved it off. So, what's next for Daniel Cormier? Daniel Cormier can fight. Yeah, I think he said he might move up to heavyweight. So I'd like to see him go heavyweight and try his luck at heavyweight. So I wouldn't mind to see that. I think he'd do pretty well at heavyweight. He was a heavyweight in Strikeforce. He won the Grand Prix tournament, and that's his natural weight. Heavyweight, you know, it's his natural weight. See, you do things for your friends, and you know, be fair. To be fair, he did get the belt, so he achieved his goal. But and when it all comes down to it, mate. When it comes down to it, man, you know what I mean? Your friends come first. Okay. Diognu, Jones needs to stay away from Brock Lesnar, from Brock. No, yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, but because of that fear, and that's what I was thinking as well, that's why I want to see the fight. That's exactly why I want to see it. That's exactly why I want to see it, because he's challenged himself against a guy who is dangerous, and he was a former UFC champion as well, challenging himself. So that's because of that, I want to see it. Absolutely. You know, absolutely. Daniel Cormier crying in the bloody the way he was just there. He couldn't. Joe Rogan's asking him questions, and he doomed up, man. He's just doomed up. He's just goked up. That's all the memes all over Facebook of Daniel Cormier's face, all over thingy, social media. You guys keep dropping some questions, man. We can have some dialogue on this, back and forth. Brock Lesnar versus Jon Jones, boy. The thing is, you see the height difference. Jon Jones, I think Jon Jones is they're around the same height, you know. It's just the weight and the hand size. You know what I mean? It's a whole different ball game. Man's got hands, bro. Man's got hands. Man's got fucking big hands. Oh shit, man. Oh mate. Combat sports, man. You gotta love it. You gotta love it, boy. Jon Jones straight after, man, calling out Brock Lesnar. It's like in his mind. I mean, what foresight? Just even know you're gonna beat up on the Cormier, and then just straight away you're calling out Brock Lesnar. Why not? Brock Lesnar's a fucking steroid cheat, bro. He has steroids in his system. Cormier is the new crying meme, not Jordan. Thank you. Yeah, well, Jordan should never been a crying meme in the first place anyway. That was out of order, man. That was. But you know what? Fuck it, bro. Cormier shouldn't even be a crying meme, and nor should Jordan, because in terms of what they did in sport, they're all excellent. Like Cormier's done everything he's ever won, everything in the octagon. He's a champion. Michael Jordan's a multiple champion. So they only cried because they didn't really reach their goal. I know we understand it, but people were mocking into people's failure. That's what I don't like the crying memes in general. I don't like. I was looking them onto it. I don't really like the crying memes. I think it's disrespectful. That's just my memes in general are disrespectful. But we're in a social media day. This is what everyone does. Everyone clowns everyone. Everyone clowns everyone. So, you know what I'm saying? Any more comments? Come on, guys. There's 6 of you watching. Oh, so it's 2 or even 4 of you watching probably, because I've got 2 apps open. Drop some comments, man. Diop Nui, got any more comments? All right, here we go. Jones too frail for Brock Lesnar. He won't be able to keep Brock off. Nah, but this is the thing. Why would he let him on him? But Brock, listen, they both got collegiate wrestlers, you know. But hey, Jon Jones is a collegiate wrestler. He didn't fight. I don't think he got to the NCAA or the Olympics, but he's a collegiate wrestler and a kick, and he's got Muay Thai as well. Hey, listen, he'll know how to deal with that. That's what makes Jon Jones good. Like pound for pound, Jon Jones is pound for pound #1. See, Brock Lesnar beats him. Brock Lesnar's right up there. I mean, if you look at Brock Lesnar, he's lost against Overeem and some other guys, Velasquez, them dudes. But if you can beat knock off the pound for pound #1, it's a big golf. That's a big notch on his belt. Better than anything he can achieve over in the WWE. It's more credible, right? No, he won't be able to keep him off. I agree with that. If he gets on top of him, he did look frail against Cormier. Don't get twisted because of his bony self. That's why he's called bony. Yeah, don't get twisted. Them bones, yeah, that's how he cuts people up with them elbows and them shin kicks and stuff like that. That's how he cuts people up, you know. If he hits Brock with any of them shots there, Brock's a wrestler. He's not used to getting punched or kicked like that down on his head. You know, when Brock sees his own blood, yeah, I've seen him just like swinging them out. He doesn't even Brock doesn't even know how to fucking punch properly. He's so fucking stiff around his arms. Right? He has to grab you and maul you. Yeah, you're right. If he grabs you and mauls him, Jon Jones may be in trouble. But remember, the 6 was 5-minute rounds. But Brock can cause so much damage if he gets on top of you. More questions. So it's whoever can administer their game plan first, in my opinion. But I don't know what Jon Jones' frailties. He's frail. I haven't seen him frail in anything. So I don't know what you're talking about. That I know it's skinny, but that's why he called Bony, innit? Jody Bones, mate. We're gonna get them. We're gonna throw them bones. You guys be sure to check out Spar Nights. It was yesterday. It was an event, amateur, like white collar event. Check that out. All right. Well, no more other comments. I'm gonna have to peel up. Oh, we go. Okay. Brock can't box, but their weight classes for a reason. But this is the thing. He's not too far off heavyweight anyway. So he can go up, and he can go up, man. He can go up to heavyweight. It's not his natural pounding. We'll see Brock. Hey, Brock, slow, man, slow. And he'll be kicking like Jon Jones will be trying to kick off his knee and bust up his knee and shit. I reckon Brock will fucking say, you know what? That's some thing is he's not gonna get a bigger payday staying in WWE. Will Vince McMahon let him come over? It's a big payday, man. It's a big fucking payday, man. You know what I mean? You sound like you don't want it to happen, DW. I don't know why you don't want it to happen. That's the shit. That's the shit. Like Mayweather and fucking McGregor. People talking that shit, they're never gonna. I thought it was never gonna happen, but this, anything's possible. Someone's calling me, man. Who's calling me? Chris Caban. What's Chris saying? What's up, Chris? I'm doing a live hangout, man. What's happening? Yeah, I'm doing Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier. I'm talking about Brock Lesnar. Why, you want to jump in? What's that?
I watched the fight. I watched it last night after the Broner fight went on. I saw the sideboard fight all there.
You want to jump in?
Yeah.
All right, give you a link sec. All right, Chris Caban's jumping in. Usually I just do this stuff up myself, man. No one else is in it. Well, you guys hang around, man. Don't go nowhere. We ain't done yet. We have not done yet. We are still, what we got here? I'd watch it, but it is a tough fight for Jones. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I rate Jones, man. That's why you got to rate Jones, man. It's a tough fight for him. He wants that fight. I want the fight. You know, this is what I was saying about MMA and MMA and we'll talk about MMA and so. MMA, WWF, and UFC. MMA, come on, boxing, UFC, and WWE. All of them coming together, collabing together, and getting them fighting each other. It's great. It's great for combat sports, man. It's great. It's great. We're in a good era where basically we've got these guys in different sports. They can fight each other, man. Really enjoying it. What we got over here? We've got some basketball happening. Let me set some basketball event happening live, actually. Let me see what's going on. Send a link to my guy, Chris. Oh, GB versus France. So it's the FIFA games. All right, Chris can get a link. Man, what's going on, man? No idea. This shit done quick. Computer just was playing up, man. Oh man, it's taking too long. Open up another browser. You guys bear with me, man. I'm just trying to sort something out. Oh man. Ooh, where we here? Yeah, bear with me, guys. I'm trying to sort something out, man. All right, here we go. Johnny Bones Jones, man. Man, that fight should have happened years ago, man. The beef, man. They don't like each other much, eh? All right, I'm back on. There he is. Okay. Fine. There you go, Chris. Jump in, Chris, when you're ready. So where was we now? Let's go back to what we was talking about. Okay. All right. D, you got any more questions? Do you have any? I'd watch it, but yeah, I agree with you, man. It's a dangerous fight for Joe, but that's it. That's the fights you want to see, man. You want to see dangerous fights. Dangerous. You want to see your guys in that's what makes you great. You ain't gonna lose and losing to Brock Lesnar. That's what I think. I don't think it's gonna be. If you lost to Brock Lesnar, I don't think it'll be a bad thing. I mean, He's still going to be one of the, regardless as the greatest light heavyweight. So, and why not? It's a big payday going against Brock Lesnar. Black, white, everything's all the ingredients, stylistically, everything. Dangerous. Brock Lesnar, man. Brock Lesnar must be looking at, I'll break this kid in two. You know, I'll break him in two. But the fans, hey, this is what happens sometimes when the fans make matchups. You know what I mean? It's like, where the fuck did that come from? You know, where the fuck? I remember Jon Jones wanted to fight Anderson Silva. He won't fight him now. Obviously, someone brought it up in the media thing, but it's too late now. I think Anderson helped him as well on his rehabilitation. Ken jumped in. Let's say GG. Where Chris at? I'm waiting for Chris to jump in. Where you at, Chris? Just taking his time to jump in, man. Big Sunday. I'm gonna do another hangout actually in a couple of hours. Actually, Sunday night wrap up for everyone to just jump in and give their thoughts on weekends, events. There's some fights I haven't seen. I want to see the Zhou Shimin fight actually, and I didn't see the undercard of UFC. I missed the sideball. Chris the Bank can tell us about the sideball fight. I haven't seen it yet. I want to see that fight. But that was a good fight still. Oh yeah, that's what's up. Where Chris at, man? He's taking his time to jump in it. Yeah, be still time. I know he got the link, so he must be taking his time with what's going on. But there's not that many guys who are actually interested in. Oh, here we go. This would be a good one. This would be a good one. I want to listen to this guy. Knuckle up. Knuckle up.
Oh, you gotta save the boat. I got some recording to do later on today. That's why I dropped it from Octave. As far as I know, an Octave has something to do with the gas you put in the gas tank. No, you said Octave. Says you. Well,
Sounds terrible, man. Yo, sort the sound up in the background there, dog.
Almost never end. At least another 8 more. That's right, I said it.
Sounds terrible.
We're here to discuss how you see.
But he needs to sort. When he sorts out his sound, then I'll bring him over. Play rock music and stuff in the background and stuff.
But not before we hit it up.
Well, we need to fix up, man. This game, talk clear and stop playing that music in the background.
Okay.
Most people said. Someone hit me up on Google. Let me swap, please.
I could not see so clear.
This guy's funny, man.
I'm taking a real good look at your face. We didn't pay back for always nothing. My friend, welcome to the show.
Here we go. Here we go.
Which means about 2 months if things work right. So here we are. And I want to use commenters in the Twitter section said something like, I'm understanding this UFC or MMA as drug parallel that you make, Eugene. And he said this before the fight. I haven't checked. There's been so many comments flying hither and yon. I guess I'm virtually, if I got my ass at the bar, I'm virtually live tweeting during the event for those of you who are paying attention. Me with produce the wallet, open the wallet, ask for a glass of water 8 times, and then realize that I was sitting in the solo chair right by the front, one of the best seats in the house, right by the speaker so I could hear, and then I had to take a leak. And I don't talk to anybody if I go. Specifically, I went alone because I couldn't. The wife had the rhinestone. We got a national pole competition, which is amusing. Poles for pole coming up in LA, and so she had some rhinestone to do. And so I sat there alone, and then I realized I can't get up. I can't get up because if I get up, I move my feet, I lose the seat. But I did have a glass, and it was quasi-dark.
Quasi.
Yugi, don't tell me you removed your penis from your pants, put it in your glass, and urinate out of the urine, because who would do that? You can't take me anywhere. Fuck that. So this was post-fight. You might be able to appreciate. Sorry. Sorry. I didn't do that. I just made that up. Come on. Am I the kind of guy that would urinate in a glass in the middle of a crowded bar because he didn't want to go to the toilet and lose his seat? All right. So post-fight, the comparison to drugs seems pretty apt. I don't know about you. I went to sleep thinking about the fight. I woke up thinking about the fight. And that's if you can count what I did called sleeping. I don't know if you've ever consumed narcotics, but this is should be a familiar pattern to you.
Yo, what up, Chris?
What up?
Yeah, man. So tell us about the undercard, because I missed the undercard, and then tell us about the main event, and then tell us how you feel Jones is gonna go against Brock Lesnar. Go ahead.
I came in on the Cyborg fight. That's the only fight I came in. After the Broner fight, I went directly to BT Sports 2, which they always show the UFC pay-per-view fights. If you want to see it, go to BT Sport 2. But anyway, I went there, and they was in the middle of the Cyborg fight. I don't know who she fought, but Cyborg pretty much dominated that fight. Beat the girl up.
Well, they're looking Cyborg to fight Holly Holmes next. How you think that fight's gonna go play out?
If it stand up, Holly Holmes, she gotta take Holly Holmes to the ground. I don't think she needs to try to stand up because Cyborg ain't a good boxer. And that girl was landing on her too, but she got on the ground. The girl was pretty strong though, but Cyborg was too much. She powered out that shit, and she beat the girl up. But Holly Holm, I'm gonna go with Cyborg. Cause I think Cyborg is gonna take her to the ground. She ain't gonna stand up with her.
But Cyborg stand up. Cyborg, most of the knockouts are stand up, bro.
I understand that, EJ, but she's not a better boxer than Holly Holm.
No, but they got to do the legs though, man. It's a kickboxing shit. Cyborg's a kickboxer. She does Muay Thai.
Yeah, that girl was a kickboxer too.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So I think for the entertainment of the I understand what you're trying to say, but Cyborg's not really good on her back. She's not really good. She's got jiu-jitsu Muay Thai, but she's not that good on that back. So I think it's gonna be a stand-up fight for the fans. I think you're gonna get a good stand-up fight. But you're in that one. You're gonna go. I'm still gonna go with Cyborg. You gonna pick Holmes on that?
I'm gonna pick Holmes on that because I think she a better stand-up.
Okay. What's the next fight you saw?
They went to the Tyrone Woodley.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I really I was going back and forth on there. I was talking on the phone, but I was watching it and going back and forth out the room. Tyrone Woodley beat the shit out of that dude though. He got like when I came back, like the fight that started, his eyes was just I think it was left eye was swollen up immediately. Like, damn, I just left out the room. Tyrone Woodley was beating the shit out of this dude. So, I like that dude too. Tyrone Woodley is a problem.
Yeah. But they was talking about him and GSP, but Gangsta said because of the performance wasn't that good, he ain't gonna give him against GSP.
But GSP ain't been. Who the last fight GSP for?
What's his name? Hendricks. Someone Hendricks. But it was ages ago. But GSP wants to come back, man.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a bad fight because GSP ain't been fighting in the ring.
Yeah, but he's all right. He's gonna be all right, man. It's not like boxing, man. You know, MMA is different. So there's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah, you can get rusty in MMA too.
Yeah. So you wasn't impressed by Tyron Woodley, yeah? Even though he dominated.
No, I was impressed by him. That's what I said. I'm saying I was impressed by Tyron Woodley.
Okay.
He dominated.
All right. So tell us about Figgy then, bro. Tell us about the main event.
Oh, the main event was crazy. I gave the first round to Jon Jones because Jon Jones was using his range, his length, and using control with pop shotting him because it looked like Cormier was just following him around the ring. But the second round, Cormier started coming back a little bit. Like he started to figure out Jon Jones. The next two rounds, he started to figure out Jon Jones. He was catching him. He wobbled him a couple of times too. He almost dropped him.
What, Jon Jones?
Yeah, he caught Jon Jones quite a few times. You watched the fight?
I watched the fight, man. But when I watched it, it was like I was watching it. It was like I was half in because it looked like Jon Jones. He was getting chased around by Daniel Cormier. It was like kicking, punching.
But Cormier was like putting pressure on him. But when he was putting pressure coming in, he was damn late teeing off on. But he ran into that kick to the face.
Yeah, oh man, that kick, and then he fucked them up, man. The knockout is always
the first that kick to the stomach, followed by that kick to the stomach too.
Yeah. Jon Jones is vicious, man. He's vicious, man. You know what I mean?
You asked me about Brock Lesnar and Jon Jones, right?
Yeah. Well, now let's talk about a bit more about Cormier. You see Cormier crying. I heard he got memes all over all over Twitter.
Man, one day he looked like he tried to go after Jon Jones too after when Jon Jones was talking to the guy because it's like Dana White and some other guys try to hold him back.
Yeah, because he can't stand. He can't believe he can't take it, man. He can't take losing, bro. He's a bad loser, bro. You know what I mean?
Like that. And then he went over there supposed to stand there when they got to raise the winner hand off. Then he just stormed off and the crowd started booing.
Yeah, well, he's a bad loser, obviously, and he don't like losing. He didn't even comment about Jon Jones because he talking about Jon Jones a crackhead. Jon Jones, how can they boo him?
He did all that talking. He did all that talking in the press conference.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's right. So what's next for Daniel Cormier?
I think Daniel Cormier is still the best. Like other than he ain't better than Jon Jones, but I think he could beat all them other guys down there in that weight class.
I heard he's moving up to heavyweight, Chris.
He did good at heavyweight. That's why I understand why he came down though. He was doing good at heavyweight.
Because of Cain Velasquez, he's in the same.
Oh, they friends. Yeah, they friends. I forgot. They friends. They train out the same thing.
But that's some stupidness, yeah. Because they're the same heavyweight. He said, "What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go down and dominate the light heavyweight. I'll let you have the heavyweight." That's some stupid little boy shit. Because that shit done fuck this shit. That fucked this year up. That don't. I mean, he was a champion down in the light heavyweight, but he would have been better than heavyweight.
At heavyweight, he was on the road though. He was beating a lot of people at heavyweight.
Well, he's the last strap force heavyweight champion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was on the road. He beat a lot of people at heavyweight, and then like out the blue, he just like I'm going down to light heavyweight because Cain over here ain't like that move.
All right, so that's what Daniel Cormier might move a heavyweight. So what's next for Jon Jones and like how do you rate Jon Jones right now?
Jon Jones when it's all said and done, he might be the best ever in UFC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Resume wise, anyway, because he got a who's who on names on his record.
Yeah. And Daniel Cormier, he done what Andre Ward done. You know what I mean? Win the distance.
If he mess around and beat if he mess around and get that fight with Brock Lesnar and beat Brock Lesnar, you got to give him the best ever.
You know what? I said if Brock grabs him, Dion knew he said it there. The moment if Brock gets on top of Jones, Jones is fucked, bro. But Jones,
if he grabbed Jones, the fight over too.
Yeah, that's what I said. But I think,
but you gotta look at it. He grabbed Cain Velasquez, and Cain Velasquez beat his ass too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but Cain Velasquez is bigger, man. But I think John Jones knows how to wrestle. His background's Greco-Roman
And
wrestling.
the other guy, what's that other guy that got popped with steroids? He used to fight Alistair Overeem. He beat Brock Lesnar's ass too, and he was a smaller guy. He wasn't a heavyweight when he first started.
No, he wasn't. It was like heavyweight. He kicked the shit out of Brock Lesnar, man. He fucked the shit out. Yeah. I think
it ain't impossible for it to be done. Because he got beat. Brock Lesnar been beat by men smaller than he is.
Yeah, I think I reckon we're gonna do a lot of pay-per-view buys, man. I think that could sell, man. What do you think?
But yeah, I think it do. But if Jon Jones called him out, maybe he knows something we don't know.
Nah, but yeah, he called him out. But he called him out the fans picked the fight, and Jon Jones said, "Yeah, I'll take it." You know what I mean? But I think stylistically, you got white, black, you got styles, different styles. I think it worked. I think it matches well.
Jones don't look like no light heavyweight though. He look like a big guy.
Yeah, but the light heavyweight is like the cruiserweight division, bro. It's like the cruiserweights, man. That's remember the divisions are different. The weights are different, bro. He's practically a heavyweight, bro.
Yeah, he's a heavyweight.
You know what? Jon Jones right now is pound for pound #1. If Brock Lesnar was to beat him, he takes that pound for pound, solidifies beating the pound for pound. I think if he beats Jon Jones, he gets a lot of credibility. So I think it's a big payday. I think Brock Lesnar might take, because there's no one in WWE he could fight. Undertaker's not there no more. Who has he got down there to face?
Nobody.
No. So I think all roads lead to Jon Jones, man. Who else has Jon Jones got to face in the UFC?
He beat everybody almost.
Yeah.
Let's get that rematch with
Gustafsson.
Yeah, he need that. I thought Gustafsson beat him. I had Gustafsson beating him.
Hell no. Hell no.
I don't see how he won that fight. I'm gonna be honest with you, EJ. I do not see how he won that fight.
I tell you what, right? What's this, yeah? Gustafsson got fucked up by Cormier, right? And he got fucked up by the British guy. The British guy is on the rise.
Yeah, I believe, he did, but they don't change the fact. I still think he beat Jon Jones' ass.
Nah, man, I ain't fucking with that guy, man. I ain't fucking with Chris. Jimmy, I ain't fucking with, man. I ain't messing with that.
That's like triangle theories, EJ. Shit, damn, Joe Frazier beat up on Muhammad Ali, and he got knocked out by George Foreman. George Foreman and Ali beat George Foreman, so that really don't mean nothing.
Yeah, well, but no one beat Jon Jones yet, so you can say what you want to say. No one beat him. He's undefeated.
There's still triangle theories. Maybe Gustafsson got the style to give him problems.
I think Gustafsson's shot, but I don't think no one's. I think
But the way that fight ended, that deserves a rematch because Jon Jones did not dominate that game.
I don't know what Jon Jones. I'll tell you what, if Gustafsson gets in there now, he'll fuck up Gustafsson. And the Rumble Johnson fight, people want to see that fight as well.
Yeah, because I watched both of them fights because, like, then he can answer some questions with the Gustafsson because a lot of people think Gustafsson beat him and then he could fight Rumble Johnson because they ain't really never fought before. So he got three opponents he can fight.
Ahmed Buzz says Joe shouldn't move up. It's a bait trap. Well, listen, Ahmed, Jones is making this decision for himself, man. I think it's a good move, man. But
I think it's a good move too because if he loses, he can win-win situation. Everybody think Brock gonna beat him anyway.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is, if he moves up there, he better not come back down because there's a lot of muscle. There's a lot of muscle.
You know what I mean? If he gonna fight these guys down here, he might as well fight them guys first and then fight Brock Lesnar last.
I want to see Chris Cyborg versus Holly Holmes as well. I like that fight right there. That should happen time ago, man. Because Ronda Rousey done cowardly out, man. She cowered out. No, I mean.
No Ronda Rousey. I want to see Holly Holmes and this girl.
Which one? Cyborg.
Cyborg, yeah. Because
Amanda Nunes as well. I'd like to see like Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. I'd want to see that one as well.
Well, ain't she bigger than Nunes?
Yeah, she is, man. Maybe Amanda Nunes steps up. I don't know, man. Amanda Nunes.
Cyborg. They said Cyborg struggled to make weight too. That's what they're saying.
Oh yeah. Because the UFC trying to drain her. Because they were trying to drain her to fight fucking Ronda Rousey. Trying to fuck her.
find a rivalry to beat them. That's why they do to their stars. They drain the other fighters.
Yeah. Well, they tried to do that to Holly Holmes. Holly Holmes messed her up, good and proper, mate. Won the round.
I don't put that girl. What's that girl that used to be on Strike Force that was beating everybody? She was pretty
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the Italian girl, isn't it? The one she beat up.
Yeah, she's talking about coming back too.
She went over there. Well, maybe she should. That's
everybody. She only lost her on Cyborg.
Yeah, but she didn't fought no one. Who did she beat? I don't know the girl she beat before. Because remember, the sport's new.
Yeah, she beat a lot of girls though.
Yeah, no one knows who they beat, man. Because the sport's fairly new, so no one even cares, bro. No one even cares, man. There's what I gotta say. Well, we got people in the chat. We got some more people in the chat right here. What they saying? Let me see what they saying. Okay, Jones needs to stay where he is. Yeah, I hear you, bro. But we're talking about big money fight, stylistically.
Yeah, he done clean out the division. Why you gotta stay down there? Ain't nobody for him to fight.
Yeah, he don't know what to fight, man. There's no one to fight in his division. Brock Lesnar ain't there, but
challenge yourself. You done beat it. He ain't gonna get credit for beating somebody he already beat before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Gustafsson fight is whack. I don't see that, man. But I know.
I would like to see him try. I like to see him try. He's bigger than most light heavyweights anyway.
I was thinking like when Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. I always wanted to see the rematch, man. Never happened. And no one asked for it.
Douglas would have beat him again.
Yeah, good. Well, he should have went back in there, man, because he would have been better for his confidence. Because he would have got over something. You see, he never got over that stuff. You know what I mean? When you fail at something, you go back in and you try again. At least you know that you tried. But if you just ignore it, then you never learn from the experience. It's like if you get dumped by a girl, and then you went and asked the girl, you try to go back with her again, and she says, "Nah, I'm not interested." At least you know you tried. Then you could move on for the rest of your life. And years later, she may come back to you and say, "Yeah, oh, I made a mistake. I should have took you back when you asked me." But that's you got over it. So you kind of do things just to get out of your system. You know what I'm saying? Well, otherwise you walk around your whole life thinking about what if I, you know what I'm saying? Fuck that shit. Nah, man, try it, man. Okay, Diogo Nui, Jon Jones needs to clear up Gustafsson next. Man, no, he don't. I disagree with you. You and Chris trying to conspire against me. You don't need to go get Gustafsson next. Get out of here. That's my opinion. I want to see Brock Lesnar up in that joint. That's it. Put Brock Lesnar up in that joint quick.
Nah, I don't got
All right, me and Chris is burnt out. Let me hear from my guy, SS Johnson. What's his name? What's his name again? This guy's funny as hell, man. He's a bit of a weirdo about his jokes. Chris over there, you need to mute Chris. Okay. Robertson S. Johnson. That's it. Oh, here we go. You always say he's a bit of a weirdo.
And I have to say, look, there's a guy I know. I don't know if you remember the movie Tango and Cash.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I've told this story before. I'm going to keep it brief. And Tango and Cash is also the name of a certain type of heroin in the 80s in New York. And it was really powerful, right? And these guys I know who were junkies had this thing, and they said, look, if one of us ODs, don't call the fucking paramedics, right? Just let ride the high out. We'll pull out of it. I mean, that's not the definition of overdose, but we'll pull out of it. So one guy ODs, the other junkie who's kind of like, hey, he panics, calls the paramedics. Paramedics come, take him off to the hospital, shoot him up with Narcan. Guy fucking escaped. They don't chain him to the gurney, so he jumps up because it's criminal possession. He jumps up, escapes from the hospital, runs back and finds the guy that he was high with, and goes, "You fucking owe me. You owe me. You ruined my fucking high." That's how good Tango and Cash was. That he would rather have died on it than to have been saved on it. I'm not saying UFC 214 was that powerful of a kick, but it had a pretty fucking potent kick. For those of us who have been lost in the miasma of confusion about why indeed MMA was even a sport we paid attention to begin with, a pleasant fucking reminder. A pleasant reminder. I mean, like Slick Rick says, it's like a day when nothing seems to go your way, except the exact opposite. I mean, I can't even explain to you the stagecraft that goes into this. right? You know, there's some. I would say that Oxbow's guitar player is a master at doing this as well. It's pretty simple. If you played as many shows as Oxbow has played, you move your gear on stage, you set up your gear, you sound check, and then you begin the show. It's very simple. Plug in, turn on, play the music, get the fuck off. But I don't know whether he does it on purpose, whether it is a matter of stagecraft or it's just the way it happens. But on stage, the height of anxiety has been reached by the time he hits that first note, because you don't know if he's ever going to start. It could be problems with equipment. It could be problems here. The string and the guitar and the head, the neck, and things like that. So you never know. So there's this waiting, it's anxious, waiting, anxiety, waiting, anxiousness, waiting. And then it actually happens, and everybody's like, there's this like squeezing a sponge, and there's Meister Eckhart called it ebulitio, EBULLITIO, this overflowing. In his instance, he talked about overflowing of a godlike essence. In this instance, we're talking about, you know, a kind of communion between the performer and the audience. In the instance of UFC 214, very specifically, we're talking about none of us believed, or rather, we all believed in the high likelihood that this fight would never happen. Did you see when Johnny Boney Joni says at a certain point, "Hey, I made it," and the entire audience was like this. I think it's funny, man. You know, when your dealer shows up and he's late and he's been fucking around, hey, at least I showed up. I don't think it's fucking funny. I don't think it's fucking funny at all. I don't think it's funny, you know? Yeah. Because we all know, I mean, oh yeah, there's reportedly that thing in Jersey where he chased down.
What? Chris.
So what you talking about? Get to the point.
That's what he does. He waffles along, man. He's waffling
about taking all the cocaine, heroin, and nights. Talk about the fight, man. Shut up.
Yeah, he'll get to the point, Chris. Keep listening, man. That's what he does. He waffles on.
Down the first snatcher and beat up the malefactor. Who knows? Somebody should Snopes that. Somebody should zap root that and find out. Call the Newark Police Department and find out whether indeed somebody was turned in for mugging that night. This whole dream he had of doing a shack thing, and he was going to be a cop and a sheriff. That was back in the crazy thing. I mean, that's the only thing. If we didn't know that he was coked up then, we were never going to know. We were never going to know. Yeah, I'm going to be a sheriff deputy, man. I'm fucking chase crime, man. I'm fucking run around, bro. I got a fucking cape in the trunk. I'm going to chase these motherfuckers. Look, he was, you know, boom, you know? And nobody knew. None of the rest of us knew that he was high. Come on. I'm ashamed of myself for not knowing. So my point is that could have gone the exact opposite way. So none of us were joking around going at this. None of us. We got video in our head of Cormier sitting backstage somewhere. It looked like a dressing room or a locker room, finding out that Johnny Boney Joni tested positive for dick pills, right? Whatever. So it's like, I made it. Not funny, man. Not funny. Not funny. Okay. So he does make it. Nobody laughed. He does make it. So the tension, you know, and it's not just from his side. The weight of this is not carried by Johnny Boney Joni solely. You know, there was a towel gate, and the Popeye Fried Chicken spokesperson, DC, who, you know, penchant for coming in, and that wasn't the part. He's okay. I'll never make that mistake again. I'll never come in too heavy again. I'll come in too light. Oh, and then there's a kidney thing, and then the kidney shit. So there was a possibility that, and it, like it's happened, you know, like Hannah Barrow, do a little dab will do you. Most of you under 40 won't know what the fuck I'm talking about with a little dab will do you. But a little dab will do you. It's a commercial about hair pomade from back in the 50s, 60s. Real Cream, I think it was. So from DC side, we don't know what the fuck. These guys, they make it, and everybody, you could feel it. It was like my guitar player fucking around with his amp as they start to, Johnny Boney Joni comes in first. and he's nervous. And believe me, you're not as tuned into a human being in very many instances as you are tuned in. I was sitting directly under a ceiling fan in that seat that I refused, which was great because in the big gusts wafting out over the crowd was the accumulated stench from my cup of urine under my. Nah, I didn't really do that. But if I had done that, that's what it would have been like. So the whole place would have smelled like my piss. But it's a good thing that I didn't do that. The civilizing influence of women. Absent that, all kinds of things could happen. So I was sitting under a ceiling fan, so I was cold, and I had on this shirt actually, so my arms were, I was rubbing my arms, but I was gripping so hard, I was trembling. And so now I'm paying attention to, right, driving along, you might be 50% attention, and you could die driving. Watching this fight, I was like 97% dialed in attention. And I'm watching Johnny Boney Jr.'s face as he comes in for all kinds of, no, look at him. He's nervous. No, God. I'm dialed in like probably last time I was this dialed in and was looking into the face of in the eyes of my wife or, when my children were born or something like that. You're dialed in. DC comes in and he pauses and then I'm thinking about Charles Bukowski. He said, any fighter that's doing all this crossing stuff before he fights is gonna lose. I'm like, oh my God, because I know what you know, what the jungle knows. And that's that Johnny Boney Joni has gotta win this fucking fight. Not for him, for the sport. Which is for me and for you, he has got to win the fucking fight. In the same way that they snagged Anthony Rumble Johnson for this press conference. He's like, yeah, I'm just here to see the fight as a fan. So all this stuff about him doing security for the guy, turns out it wasn't that. He's gone into business, medical marijuana in Canada. Oh, this guy he met, let him invest. Oh. He let you invest, huh? I tell you what, son. I'll let you invest in CFY Enterprises. Or they put out all kinds of things. Stigmata CDs, and they license Oxbow music. It's kind of, I got a lot of top flight investors. I don't know if I could let you in. I don't know if I could do that, but maybe, and I'll give you a special starter price. $1 million. So Rumble's in the medical marijuana business in Canada. Right as it's getting legalized all across America. Cartels are losing their hold and shifting their attention to opiates, which is why we have an opiate problem. Price of marijuana is dying. There's a surplus of weed in California. I'm glad I won, mama. To understand that reference point, you're going to have to go back to a men's room in Las Vegas and see the former Bronx bomber, Joe Louis,
yes,
and the people towels. Because that's what he said after one of his fights, was take it to the fucking cleaners. I don't know, maybe it's a good investment. What do I know? I'm a guy sitting around in his underwear with a fake pipe. What do I know? So that, so even the jungle, because let's go back a bit to Rumble against DC. Rumble wants to quit, wants to be out. He can't beat fucking DC and then leave. He can't leave with the belt and retire. He knows that. I know that. You know that. The jungle knows that. Could this be a possible explanation to his previously inexplicable efforts to try to shoot in on an Olympic wrestler and then turn up against the cage and get choked out? Don't know. But the jungle knows some things. And by the jungle, I mean our collective will and desire. If the scheme on a DC is short-lived anyway, he's going back to being a commentator. The money is regular, which means the rewards are even, and the downsides are non-existent. You get fired. When you get fired from fighting, They carry you out. Even the jungle knows. And this ties into the topography of America hating winners. You know, Johnny Bonajoni comes into Luke, Matt in the box. Luke Thomas said that he noticed something very strange because when Johnny Bonajoni, I mean, I can hear intermittently because I'm sitting in a bar. I don't know where. Luke, man's mother died, got a rabbit in his blood. Think about going back to pay his respects, and his mind ain't right. Luke, a night in the box. So Luke said when Johnny Bonajoni, there was an amazing burst of cheering and then smattering of boos. It was because I'll tell you what happened with that. The first move, like my mother used to say, your first mind is your right mind, was all of us dialed in, 100% dialed in, and it was like that sponge. He was like, God, he's here. Oh, it's actually gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It was relief of anxiety. And then the smattering of boos as he kind of got to thing was people realizing, you know what, we shouldn't really be celebrating this yet, but we do. Because Johnny Bonajoni is no longer the guy that underscores the ways in which we have failed, but he is now the guy who understands the ways in which there's a minute difference. America hates a winner because a winner reminds us of the personal ways in which we've managed to fail continually. Why do you think the fucking Republicans were so put out by Barack Obama? It wasn't because he was fucking black. Look, that's just a red herring. I'm gonna follow the stink of that. Well, what else could it be? Oh, I'm sure that's part of it. I'm not saying, I think maybe that's part of it. I'm very sure that was part of it, but that wasn't the spear point. The spear point wasn't that at all. Because if he was a black cat from, choked, if he was a black Bush, it would have been very, very different. America's relationship to class is very different. But he underscored for a large percentage of people who were sitting around trailers going, oh, I grew up in a single family house. What the fuck am I doing in this trailer? Look at this prick dancing and prancing all over the place, being fucking cool. Fuck that guy. A winner reminds us of the ways in which we are inadequate. But what about a loser that wins? A loser that wins is us. America hasn't torn itself to its timbers because of this small scintilla of a chance that we could win a lottery. That's why there's no Bastille Day here. Yeah, we fought for independence and that, but I'm saying we haven't risen against aristocracy because lotteries. So now we have an ascendant Johnny Bonajoni who is, warts and all. We love the warts. It's not the all that we love. The Apollonian figure that strides into greatness. We don't fuck, man. That guy makes us feel like shit about ourselves. But this guy, we fucking love him and we feel guilty about it. And this is why the smattering of boo is there afterward. Because it doesn't come at all close to explaining why there was an outpouring of boos when DC comes in. This is in Anaheim. Anaheim. DC lives in California. Johnny Bonajoni is from New York who trains in New Mexico. This is California. This is LA, Los Angeles. Specifically, this is the part of Los Angeles that the Reagan country. And then what happened? When people cheat, they felt guilty as he gets in, so they're gonna clap. I clap for them both. DC is a friend of knuckle up, but you gotta, like Lincoln Kwesi Johnson said, I'm a merciless realist. The jungle wanted this. DC wins, he can fucking retire. Who wants a guy who retires with the belt, leaving a decimated division? I mean, at that point, you've got a decimated Johnny Boney Jr., not a resurgent Johnny Boney Jr. And you got guys fighting over scraps. Who he's going to go against? No Time? I like No Time, but that guy's fucking fight style's ugly. I mean, I got to see him in 48 seconds. So the jungle needed this. But that's the secondary issue. The primary issue is that this is a real sporting contest, right? Unlike Rumble in DC, where I think one guy was like, I know his couple, and the woman looked in the guy. They were recently married, or they were married. They knew each other in high school, friends, siblings. They ended up together, had a couple kids, and then she said to him in a weird moment, like the clouds parted, and she said to him, "You know, if there's one thing you could do that would be unforgivable, absolutely unforgivable, is if you had an affair." And it's like you could hear the clouds parting. Oh, the angelic choirs, because she had given him a key. And this dude pretty much got up from that dining room table. The wife was scheduled to take the kids to visit his sister back in DC. He gets up, goes to his secretary, says, "Hey, let's have an affair." I mean, like in a day. I mean, I'm sure he had been working on it. Well, where should we go? And against all sleazy male behavior, he goes, "I got it. My wife's out of town. Let's go to my place." So they drive to his place in the middle of the day in an apartment complex, one of those like Three's Company apartment complex, horseshoe shape. And he marches her up the stairs so all the neighbors can see, goes in for an hour, comes back out, and does this a couple times. She gets back with the kids, the neighbors, you know, these chattering hens say, "Oh, was that your sister who was over the time you were here?" Sister, there's a woman. So she says, "Hey, what's this?" He goes, "I admit it. I am having an affair with my secretary." She goes, "That's it." Throws him out, leaves. He dumped the secretary that week. And they got together and married a woman that he's been with ever since, and that was like 30 years ago. Dude liked being married, just didn't want to be married to her. And she gave him a key. My point is, very specifically, you know, Rumble, I'm not saying collusion on this last fight against DC, but dude needed it. This is why I wanted out.
Get him out of here.
Out. This was very different. What the jungle wanted was very much at odds with what DC wanted. DC wanted to win this, and despite the fact that it was disruptive, win it, retire. And he's like, I climbed a fucking mountaintop that involved insurmountable odds. The narrative behind this story, fan-fucking-tastic. Adrian! But, you know, the narrative on the other side was equally compelling and more tied into the zeitgeist of the American mind. You know? Yes, I struggle with it. And I mean, the dick pills thing, that, and all of this, I mean, if you look at the crimes and misdemeanors of Johnny Boney Joni, the thing that you don't have any defenders of, that you don't, I mean, I could create reasons around it, but it gets hard to be really super sympathetic, is a car wreck involving the pregnant woman that subsequently left in the wreck. That shit, that's over the line, right? Now, you can make the claim, if you want to do something exculpatory, that there was a car wreck, there was smoke, there was confusion, there were narcotics involved, and he didn't see who the other person was. He didn't, like, go to her side door and go, "Oh, a pregnant woman," and run off, right? I mean, that's really not what happened, but we don't know. We don't know if that's what happened. "Oh, you're pregnant?" And then run off into the sand dunes. I mean, we don't know if that's what happened. But it's hard. But everything else, I mean, look, if your heart didn't go out to Anderson Silva when he got popped with dick pills, it's like pretty much you can take the dick. I tell you, a friend of mine, when steroids and Viagra intersected, and this guy, he said, man, I'm fucking these women. I'm putting them to sleep. Because the steroids create a situation where you want to fuck 20 times a day. And now suddenly Viagra was creating a situation where you could fuck 20 times a day. He's rolling into these women and they don't even, I said, hey, are you telling them? It's a journalist to me. I know the answer. As a man, I know the answer. As a journalist, I had to ask. And he's like, no, why would I tell her? Of course, there's a flip side of that another friend of mine is going through right now. He's like, I gotta get out of this shit. I can't, you know? It was like a Sorcerer's Apprentice type thing, you know? Lays it down for 4 hours one time. Lays it down for 4 hours 2 times. Like, man, I got this young, he's dating some chick who's 23. He's like, this is 3 times 4 hours. By the 4th time, he's like, Jesus, boy, more. I can't give it up. This is, you know, tanked up on steroids and dick pills. That's one thing to be enjoying the use of dick pills. It's another thing to have that shit on public blast because you know the wife is going, oh, dick pills, huh? Well, in the period of time that you purportedly were taking dick pills, you and I had sex once a week. So, and I don't recall having sex on the night that you, but you know, and that's it, Eddie Murphy. It wasn't me. But I saw you come out, it wasn't me. Okay. Whatever he had to say to scramble and make that shit work at his household, good on him, I guess. So our hearts go out there. The dick pills, the coke, the weed, the pot and the pot pipe in the background, the photo, the selfie, the major missteps. But he knew what we all knew, what the jungle knew, what you knew, what I knew watching this fight, that this fight was going to be transformative. Or more specifically, it was going to mark a transformation. And lives were going to be fucking changed clearly as a result of it, no matter what happened. And you can't say that about anybody. Whose life was changed by Damian Maia and Tyron Woodley? Whose? No one's. That's who. With DC against Johnny Boy Joey, lives were going to be changed. And indeed, they actually were changed. They came in as good. I mean, you know, both of these guys were smart about this. The Johnny Boney Joni that half-assed to an OSP fight was not going to be the guy who won this fight. And he knew he could half-ass it to an OSP fight because OSP is a half-asser. You don't think OSP is a half-asser? Really? Okay. This is probably not the show for you then. You probably need another type of show entirely. So he wasn't going to do it. So he had to crank it up. So it's like if you crank it up and I crank it up, I get 2 and you get 2, is that even if that comes out to the same type of fight, if I'm DC, and it goes to a decision, I'm the champion now. I got more of an edge going into it, and more of that. Even if I lose to a decision, a split decision, I'm coming out making claims. You know, maybe I push it into a trilogy. Now, Jungle knew this fight happened the only way it could have happened. You know, for us to believe that pre-fight animus, we had to see some guys, and I did some Zach Ruder action. We'll talk about that in a second. We had to see some guys who were motivated. You went up 2, I went up 2. You went up 4, I went up 4. You went up 6, I went up 6. So the ceiling was being raised. And Johnny Boy Jr. was removing from the table these other pieces that people might have, because he had his pieces removed. Later, he could always say, man, I beat you while high. Just as easy to say that as it is to say, I lost while high. High being the causative agent. with the drug testing, all that, had that shit removed. He's like, okay, you remove stuff from me, I'm gonna remove stuff from you. So I don't want to hear any excuses from him afterward about, because I know Kane was out, he couldn't train with Kane, he couldn't train with this. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to know this the best. Because you won't hear any excuses from me. It's because you worry about you. You don't come with excuses. So they all removed all the support structures, all the pre-excusing was removed from the table, and it was two men facing each other. And the jungle wanted one thing, but you look for these disruptions, you look for the Rocky story. A guy sat in front of me and said, I'll take money now. I want to see, I'm 20 right now on DC. And this is after the first round. They closed the window in Vegas. You're after a certain bid, you can't bet. This guy was willing to do it, bet for DC. And there was game shit happening. I mean, the problem with Johnny Boy Jr.'s fight style is not that he's the problem is not the places in which he's successful, because success is not a problem. The problem is the places in which he fails, and he fights in a way that makes you nervous because he fails consistently in the same sort of ways. His hands are entirely too low, given his height. He doesn't have an answer to the dirty boxing uppercut, that catches him. And you're not talking about a guy who's just ably delivering stuff, a sparring partner who's keeping you on an even keel, who's zeroing you out. But you're talking about a guy who's now 2, 4, 6 points above where he was before, and in a greater measure is trying to best you in a very serious way. There were some yips the first round. Second round, I thought to myself, if this goes to a decision, Johnny Boy Johnny is fucking doing the loser's walk out of this cage. He's not going to win this thing. Because, he manages to, the problem is that he manages to be deficient in each area in which proficiency would help him. The ways in which he's successful is that in the same way, in each area in which he's deficient, he manages to be just enough better than the other guy. So it's like alone, boxing, deficient. But his deficient is still one peg up from DC. And it's a 5-round fight. And he's waiting. And what does he do? He pulls a GSP, which is fight IQ. And for those of you too young to remember this, what I mean by this is when GSP beat Matt Hughes. When I fight, I know you guys don't need to hear about an old man's fight, but I used to use what I call the triangle. I look from here to the navel. I would focus in a general way on that section, so I could tell it was a punch, it was a kick. Increasingly, I started to notice other fighters, like training with Kung Lee. Kung Lee never looked here. And he never told me, but I figured it out. Kung Lee was always looking here. I'm trying to de-signify my looking by looking in a general way at the torso so I can see where stuff is coming from. But in the same way that I've learned with jiu-jitsu to control my breathing, to conceal intent, he's looking in my eyes because no matter that I'm defocused on a centralized torso core, I'm still looking at where I'm about to go and what I'm about to do. Truest measure. GSP looks at Matt Hughes' legs. Matt Hughes responds because he expects the foot to be coming for a low kick, meaning the other leg will be posted on the floor. So he responds like he's going to go shoot a single, and GSP switches in midair, and that kick comes up and lays Matt Hughes out. And Johnny Boney Johnny did it the same way, but maybe not with his eyes. I don't know that I saw that when I zaprooted it, but what I did see was why I always get beat by tall, thin guys. Because he lifts a leg and DC responds. He's going for the leg that's posted, that's still standing on the ground, but Johnny Boney Johnny's legs are so fucking long that it takes him longer to get there. But he feels safe because if his leg is that far back, then that means the threat from the other leg that's coming to him is going to be insignificant, especially if it's low. And he's like this, and in midair, Johnny Boney Jr. doesn't make a correction because it was never intended to be corrected. It was intended to do exactly what he did, like GSP did against Matt Hughes. Rip, goes north and tabing. And it was the ear. And I don't know if you've been hit because, oh, he rang his bell. That came later. The ear is what fucked up the balance. And then Johnny Boy Jr. advances and he's doing this stuff. And he's doing that. He doesn't know, maybe I wouldn't articulate it this way. From my point of view, I say he's doing that to see if the guy responds to the minute adjustments. And then when he didn't, fuck it. Trip against the cage. And you know what? Hats off to Big John McCarthy. He's no Mario Yamasaki. He's also who's the cat, the bald guy who after he made that bad call will just let fighters get beaten to death. Mirgliat. I counted 11 unanswered blows, hard ones. But you know what? You know what we're not talking about today? We're not talking about how it was a premature stoppage. Nah, it was right on the edge, and that's where those stoppages need to be. But I have to say, when you Zach Bruder that, watch it again. I've now watched it about 37 freaking times. Watch it slowly. So he gets him against the cage, and he whiffs the first hammer fist. And as he adjusts after that first hammer fist and starts to deliver these left hands under, I don't know how the camera angle is on the right side, but you get a glimpse of Johnny Boney Jr.'s face. And like Bruce Lee said, and like I subscribe to, I said, I fight with emotional content, not angry. However, I know my emotional content gets closest to anger in times when, you know, and you see his arms kind of come up and you see this glimpse of him underneath, either in this section or under here, and you see this glimpse of Johnny Boy Jr. and he's like, because, and you think, oh man, he's really digging into this guy, because that's not, DC is symbolic. Symbolic. And proof of this is coming up in a few seconds. He is symbolic. Symbolism can get you hurt. You know, I mean, at one point somebody was, somebody said to Himmler about, saving some Jews, it's like, could you maybe cut this guy some slack? He was my family doctor, blah, blah. And Himmler looks at him and goes, we all have our favorite Jews. I mean, even Hitler supposedly had there were some dispensations he wanted to make, But then there was somebody like Heydrich who said, nobody gets out of a kettle alive. An absolutist. But symbolism can get you hurt, because at that point where he's hitting DC, the fighter, this guy represents the past 2 years of what he calls darkness. I mean, what's baffling to us and not baffling to us at the same time is that Johnny Boney Joni knew at a certain point what was on stake. When you're wearing that fucking orange jumpsuit, you know what's in stake. I don't know if you've ever been thrown in jail, but like Charlie Manson says, bang, clang, bang, went the big iron door. They put me in a cell with a concrete floor. 9 other men in that cell with me, moaning their fate with destiny. There's a finality that how much Russia weighs, man. Finality, miserable. And if you got rich brothers, you got buffers, but you're gonna be happy shining your brother's car on Sunday? No. No. His brother still, I'd kick his ass. Come to Thanksgiving dinner, I still take him. UFC jab my ass. So, so he was at that point, Big John McCarthy did the right thing. And then there's the terrible mummery afterward of the struggle and, you know, him trying to get back. And God, if you've not been in that position, you got to know your mind is not right. Your mind is not right. It's not right. You know, he's pushing, and Jon is grabbing the wrist, and he yanks the wrist like he's getting out of the cage, and over the shoulder, you could see Dana fucking, and he still refused to go up, and he's, you know, I mean, one thing you say about DC, this was everything it was promised because it wasn't stage managed. You could live 1,000 lifetimes. If somebody was to tell you that standing on a stage in the middle of a cage, sobbing your fucking guts out was going to be something that you were likely to want to be able to do, you'd be a fucking liar. I'm going to tell you what the D-Man said. He said, man, so the interview is on the UFC's YouTube page. You think they'd give the guy a break? I mean, I know that he was severely concussed and suffering from a number of things that should keep a microphone away from him. Doesn't matter what I think, that interview is going to haunt him. Normally, I don't like seeing fighters cry, but this feels like the end for DC. Seemed like he's got 1 or 2 left. Maybe one fight in San Francisco where he can main event the TV card and go out on top. He's got to be focused on post-MMA life, and that interview won't help. He's done. He's done because I want him to be done, because the jungle wants him to be done, because very specifically, I think he wants to be done. Go watch the movie The Duelist. Harvey Keitel wandering the fucking countryside. You know, you have to pivot now and focus on the things that make a difference to you. You've only lost twice. You've lost twice to the same guy. You're not gonna fucking fight this guy a 3rd time. The reality of it is, fighting at this point makes no sense. You're beating everybody of note. You're gonna stick around and gatekeep for somebody else. But, you know, at this point now, hug your wife, kiss your kids, talk to Javier, talk to Fox, make sure you got a 5-year contract out of him, and retire, man. Got nothing left to prove. Come on over, officer. I got nothing left to prove. And this was aided and abetted by I mean, this was full of surprises and lives were transformed. Johnny Boney Joni's take post-fight was fucking class. It could be the Hollywood thing of sincerity is everything, and once you got that fake, you got it made. But it was nails. He's like, this guy is a fucking champion. He's the kind of guy I aspire to be. They're both fathers, so it's not like fatherhood is gonna. I mean, clearly Johnny Boney. I mean, Jay-Z said it best. He's like, when he was talking about fucking cheating on his wife, he's like, you know what? You can't actually do this. You can't do this stuff and be full of shit. And shit is like rotten meat. In fact, they're pretty much the same thing. It stinks, and then, you know, but the problem is when shit stinking is doing you a favor. Shit stinking is saying, here I am, here I am, here I am. But there's a point at which shit stops stinking. It doesn't mean it's any better for you. You can't eat dried shit, or you shouldn't. But it becomes part of the environment in a way that's not healthy or helpful for anybody. So like Jay-Z said, you know, I just built my fucking life on this shit. Especially if you're a celebrity. Got people wanting to suck your dick 24 hours a day. I have to decide that I want to live a bullshit-free lifestyle. If you're designed to live a bullshit-free lifestyle, you can start to examine the ways in which the ways you fail start to apply themselves. If you're paying attention. When do you start fucking up? Me? I start fucking up when I'm under fucking pressure. Tension, anxiety, and then suddenly I start to see ways that I could fuck up that I didn't even see before. Like, I don't do it. You know why? Because I don't want the shit there. The shit that maybe I don't even smell anymore. Johnny Boy Joni's looking at DC and going, man, this is a guy, he's got a wife, he's got kids. I got a wife, I got kids. How is he holding together? Well, 8 years sometimes makes a difference, bro. The difference between 38 and 30. The difference between 38 and 48. As evidenced by my friend who, after 5 times putting it down for 4 hours, is like, enough. I said, you know what? You should read my book. He said, what book is that? It's called The 3-Second Load. The 3-second load, what's that about? Using your time wisely. 3-second load. It's so over. I got stuff to do. No time. I'm joking. Now that came from being with a woman who, you know, I mean, it was like you did it an hour and a half. An hour and a half. It would take. Because I don't know what it is. You just gotta hold me down so I can have an hour and a half. I'm holding it. What the hell? What the hell?
Nah. Tuesday I got something else going on, man.
Nah. I'm gonna go the other way. As soon as I break a sweat, I'm busting a nut. Then I'm out. That's it. Every fucking hour and a half sweat pouring down. Who am I trying to prove? What am I trying to prove? So anyway, it was a heartfelt, and he falls, he starts to cry because there was a lot of tension built up behind this. A lot of tension without the usual supports. You know what I mean? Mini mart supports. A lot of mini mart supports. Absent mini mart supports. So, you know, as real as it gets, this was as real as it got. And it was totally transformative. And like somebody, I think it was Victor Rodriguez, said, this is a trifecta, and he hit it. Said really gracious shit about his opponent. Heartfelt thanks to us, including the haters. Like, I know everything I got. I mean, look, I've been in positions where, you know, this Christ thing, where it's like, it's real, like in Clockwork Orange, this is a real sad and weepy part of our tale. Yeah, I've been there. Yep. I might still be there. 5 years. And, you know, sometimes you just got to take it. You jump out of the back of that truck, you pick up that fucking rock so you don't get your head stove in. And then he does the perfect thing, number 3. Picks a super fight. I mean, everybody's watching McGee. And what is it? I love it. He's doing his RuPaul. He's getting sassy. He's going sassy. He's voguing. He's got his belt on, and he's got. Well, you know what? What I love about that is that you can afford to be it. I could be as femmed out as I want. You don't like it? Like that guy in Gold's Gym. He's getting dressed in this Mexican cat. I know this because I'm standing at the front desk and the guy comes to complain. This Mexican cat is getting dressed in Gold's Gym locker room, and some white guy is staring at him. You know, and he's because of class confusion, he's used to maybe white guys being afraid of him. And so he says, "Yo, bro, what's up?" What he didn't know is that the white bro was a regular customer, if you know what I mean. I mean, a fucking recidivist, Jack. I mean, a dude who was in and out of fucking prison. And he throws his towel down and walks up to us and says, "I will fuck you up against these lockers. Say another word. Say another word." And the guy just said, you know, he does what exactly a smart person does in that situation. Doesn't say another word, except he gets out of that locker room and comes to the front desk, talks to my friend who I have to be, who works for me. My friend goes, "You want me to go talk to him?" He goes like, No. He goes, "Well, I'm just telling you, you got a problem here." And he fucking vamooses. So I started looking for the locker room to see if, I said, hey, man, I was pretty unsympathetic because I fuck those guys. I mean, those guys, there's always somebody complaining about it. And I was like, okay, as long as it's not driven by racial animus, you know. I look to see the regular customer come out, I don't see it. My point is, I don't know what the point was. I got kind of far afield. No, my point is that picking your shot, this is actually not my point, but I remember where I wanted to go with this, which is calling out Brock Lesnar was oh, no, my point was you can be as femmed out as you want if you can pull that shit off. So Johnny Boney Joni voguing with his belt, cool. Good on you, bro. Secure enough in your fucking masculinity to play it any way you want. I like that. Calling out Lesnar. Fucking calling out Lesnar. That was, I mean, yeah, because everybody's looking at McGregor going, 100 mil? 100 mil. And they're playing this really well in these video packages, and they're showing, but you know, there are two target zones in boxing. What do they call this? Science. MMA is fighting. Boxing, I'll go for that. Like Lampley said, it's a science. You know? You can hit somebody in the mid-set. I say two target zones, but that's not even it. You can hit somebody in the arms, destroy their arms, so they can't fucking hit you at all. You can also move your head a lot, so their arms get like lead. But you know what? It happens. This is how fighting started. And I'm sure McGee, outside of $100 million, he's in that dirty, hairy position of, I got to know. I got to know. $100 million makes it nicer. Johnny Boy Joni said, it's been a few years, man. I haven't fought in a few years. Got to eat. I started to remember when Mike Tyson finally left the boxing game that he was like $25 million in debt. I go, how's that guy going to pay that money without that money? Well, you know, Mike Tyson's in movies and TV. He gets residuals of some kind. I think probably, I don't know if fighters get it based on Joe Louis. I'd say fighters probably don't get a pension. But he gets, I mean, he's got to work, so he's doing stuff. Every time you see Mike Tyson on TV, I'm assuming he's getting paid for that. Every time you see me on TV, I've gotten paid for it. I even get paid for this. Not enough, clearly, to afford pants, but you know. So he's like, I need to, and you know, what was it? What, you think Lesnar wants to fight Overeem again? What makes the fight challenging is that the edges on both sides. They're pre and post excusing on both sides. A loss doesn't mean anything, and a win means a lot. It's like having sex with somebody who is much less attractive than you. You are completely relaxed, and they are completely happy. It's a win-win. It becomes not a win when you look too closely. You know? By which I mean, you know, sitting in public. Fuck. The public gets involved. You look at, you know what? Cyborg just beat the fuck out of Roy Nelson. That's not good. That doesn't look good. I see we burnt up all the time. We didn't talk about the other fights in the card, and there's a reason for that. I picked Jones, I picked Woodley, I picked Cyborg, I picked Robbie. They all won. I picked Manuel, I picked Knight, and I picked Barao. They all lost. I'm over 500. Kid Nate, picked Ortega, Sterling, Lamas, Manuel. So he's won. Fucking A. He picked Lawler, Cyborg, and he picked Maya. So he's 2 down, and I'm 3 down. So Kid Nate is, but he blew it on the bigger cards, the ones that he bet money on. So I mean, clearly my energies were more severely focused on the bigger cards, bigger portions of the card. The Cyborg thing, I'll say very quickly. She could have dispatched Roy Nelson in the first round. I mean Evinger, and she didn't because I think her corner and everybody meaning essentially big head. Tito, look at this like a sparring match. You know, this is to show people, you know, reintroduce you to people. So he ended too soon. He's not giving them anything. I believe she purposefully stretched it out to third so we could see. It was like an exhibition match. Good on Ebinger for taking it. I would say stay away from plastic surgery. Cristiano Justino, Cyborg with no longer Santos. It's not so much the facial. I suspect that she was taking growth hormone based on the look, and then people try to fix it like Mickey Rourke, and the surgery makes it worse. I think fighters should endeavor to stay away from lip surgery of any kind based on the kind of abuse that your lips take when you fight. It ends up just looking like bad Play-Doh. There's a photo of her on one of my pages with her and my kids, and she does not look like the same person. It's probably a combination of growth hormone and bad plastic surgery. Breaks my heart. Really sweet woman. Woodley, what can I say? Fighting to not lose is different from fighting to win. You know, his attitude is incredibly healthily cynical. He's like, yeah, there's my, you don't like it? There, you know what? Because I got the belt. So there, fuck you. Dan is like, it was the most boring fight ever. You know what, Dan? The bald one? I saw the bald one tweeting. Unless he's got a little fucking camera, which he's sitting right on the edge of the stage. I don't know. I saw him tweeting during Johnny Boy Johnny DC. When Johnny Boy Johnny had him, and I noticed it when I was Zach Rudering it. He's got DC on the floor, and you can see the bald one kind of in the back at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock on the clock dial. See him sitting there, and he's looking at his lap. Who the fuck are you tweeting? Don't know, but he was tweeting. So for him to get upset with Woodley, if I'm Woodley at home, I go, got the belt. Talk about GSP and Bisping all you want. You know, and I have to say there was a certain magic to stuffing all those, but I was yawning during the fight. And then hanging out with Funky Van Askren, who I didn't realize was as tall as he was. I don't know what that was about. But like I said on my tweet storm, lay down with Askren, you get it with those. Lawler, yeah, you know what? I'm a big Lawler booster. Guy's a class act. And Joe tried to lure him, as somebody pointed out in the comments, Joe tried to lure him into the Lost Battalion by getting him to say something inadvisable, like I'm gonna bet, and he just didn't. He just didn't go for it. He said, you know, I'm thinking about Matt Hughes mostly Matt Hughes. Nice seeing the guys there from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Really, if somebody could set up a fucking camera to film your actual life, I think the one-to-one correlation between who they are in camera and who they are. I mean, clearly Charlie is not quite as stupid as he is, but this it gave me great pleasure to see these guys. Manuel, what can I say? He fucked me over. But if I had known that Volkan was Rumble's sparring partner, I would have taken it much more seriously. I'd forgotten that. Knight, Hillbilly, man, I picked him. Said that was a bit of a jump. That's a cautionary tale. Don't go from 15-3. Go 15-10, maybe increments of 5. But that's a big fucking jump. I can understand Cool Hand Luke saying I want to eat 50 eggs. But eating 50 eggs is something else. I'm down over time now. And Barral, I think what happened to Barral has everything to do with a weight cut. He ruined my pick. Don't know what to tell you. But it was nice to see Aljamain Sterling get further away from the mist in the woodpile. And I was thinking, man, he's in a good place now. And then he says, my boy Chris. And then I couldn't find him anymore. I just couldn't find him. And somebody said, Misty Train Tracks, that Barral skipped over the Misty Train Tracks on his way to the Phantom Toll Booth. Strong possibility. So this fight was manly top to bottom. I mean, not manly top to bottom, mighty top to bottom. Drug got his kick, and it shows that we're still here. We're still listening and paying attention. If you were Sean Shelby, also known as Key, if you were the bald one, I don't know what you have planned post August 26th. But coming on the heels of August 26th, you have to announce something that's going to kill. Do whatever you got to do to get the Lesnar, but there's got to be a giant announcement. Not contingent on it has to be regardless what happens with this fight. I'm going to say whether McGregor wins or loses. You got to have something. You got our eyes. You got our attention. You got 8 more shows to fucking knuckle up before I go a la flambe. You know, you gotta make something good happen with what's left of 2017. I just interviewed Scott Coker. Talk about that later. On Tuesday, we got If I Did It Tuesday night. Wednesday, probably don't care for you if there's a fight next weekend. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm gonna be in Las Vegas. I'm gonna be at the pole competition Saturday, but it'll be over by the fight time. So if there's a fight, we'll see it. But anyway, come up with something. Come up with something. You guys can split the difference with boxing, but you got to come up with something. Anyway, this is round number 259. I am your host, Eugene S. Robinson, where the S stands for smoking. Thanks for coming. See you Tuesday night. Go underneath it where it says thumbs up and thumbs up and give us a thumbs up, except for that one guy who's out there who's like, Mother, I watched your whole show. You suck. Thumbs down. You know, that guy does it in the first 2 seconds, no matter what I say. I can say I'm giving gold bars to everybody. You suck. If you want to go to Twitter, it's at Eugene S. Robinson, all run together naturally. That's all open now. I've thrown it open to the world. Instagram is still gated. Mr. Sleep 3. That Mr. Sleep is a name I used to use when I would beat people up for money. That's another story for another time. Anyway, let's end the show. We'll see you soon next week. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Live what you let me do!